How you doing? This is part two. So we left off at the pastor took me up to an upper room. And now keep in mind, she didn't know nothing about me. I didn't know her. She didn't know me. She didn't know my background. She didn't know anything about me. So when she said that the Lord wanted me to stay in the church with him, I said to myself, I said, the Lord want me to stay in the church. Do the Lord know how crazy I am? Like, I'm crazy, like suicidal. I'm depressed. I'm stressed. Remember, I can't read and write, so there's no job going on. There's no finances. There's no nothing, man, for me. And it's like I'm at my end rope. I'm done. But I was suicidal, but I wasn't the type of suicidal where I'm a take my own life. I will put myself in situations where somebody else can take it. You know? That's just how it was. But we'll get into that later. So she took me upstairs to an upper room and it had VCR tapes and it had DVD, not DVDs. DVDs wasn't out. VCR tapes, VHS for the younger ones that don't know, you know. Um, It had books up there on spiritual stuff and, pool table, a little futon. And I slept that night. Now that night, I had a crazy dream that night. Fire. I went to sleep. Fire was everywhere. So much fire. I'm like, what? In a dream now. But now remember, the from part one, when I told you the pastor house is right next to the church. So when there was a fire, I looked and the pastor house was on fire too, but somebody was in the bed on fire. So when I seen that somebody was in the bed on fire, it made me dot to the door to where I was because I gotta go save whoever that is. But when I went to the door in my dream, something like look through the peephole. When I looked through the peephole, I saw two demons coming up. Now I know how the first one kind of looked, but the second one I couldn't really see. I mean, I remember this thing so vividly, like it was like I just had it, and it's been so many years ago, so many years. I've been serving God for a long time now, you know. Remember, this is in '09. It's now 2003. And no, it haven't been a straight and narrow road for me. I bumped my head many a times, but that's where I get the prodigal son from. So we get into all of that. So I ran to the door. When I looked through the peephole, I saw one demon. He had like blonde hair, but it was long, like locks, like big. But I couldn't really see his face, like. But I seen that, and it made me back up when I went to the peephole. I backed up like, oh, like I'm not going in because they coming up towards me. So when I looked through the peephole and I seen, it made me back up. But then that's all I remember about that dream. I woke up. Now, I remember I don't know God. So there's nobody in the church. I'm living in the church by myself. So I started walking. I'm not going to stay upstairs. I started walking around the church. So as time went on, I started finding stuff to do. Like I see little things around the church that need to be done. Maybe the church need to be vacuumed. I vacuum, you know. I polish the woods, and I clean the bathroom. I'm living in the church. I took care of it. I didn't know. Remember, I'm from the city, so this Connecticut, so they got grass and all of that. So I was cutting the grass, trying to trim the trees. I messed them trees up, but I was, you know how the bushes, the pine bushes, you could decorate them up. I butchered that thing down. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just trying. And that's my beginning walk with God. And I started looking around the church and I found a TV with a VHS hooked to it. So it's a TV mixed with a cassette player taped to it where you could put one of them tapes that's upstairs up the side. I carried the TV upstairs to the upper room. And when I put the TV on top of the pool table, I believe. I'm not quite sure. So forgive me, Lord. You know, help me out, Holy Ghost, to remember. I don't want to just be saying nothing in line. I don't want no part of the line. So I believe I put it on top of the pool table, or maybe I found a little stand, one or the other, and I put the tape in one of the tapes, and it was the Bible, and it said, in the beginning was the Word of God, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. But it's not only saying it, it's spelling it. Now, for countless hours, I sit up there and I look at them tapes. And that's how God began to teach me. Since I couldn't read and write, He'd teach me through, like, the tapes. To this day, I mean, He taught me how to read and write now, but I don't want to move too fast. But I just want to say, to this day, I still look at, you know, I listen to the Audible YouTube, the Bible on the YouTube and stuff. I read my Bible too, but the way God trained me, I listen to the Auto Bible on YouTube and stuff like that. But so now I'm hearing the voice talking to me. It's not a voice like this. I can't really explain it. It's an inner. I know my father's voice, but back then I didn't know. But I hear him talking to me. He's saying stuff to me like, I'm not like man. You know, give me a try. Just let go, trust me, stuff like that. You don't have to worry, I got you. Um, so I'm gonna tell you my first fall because I'm doing good. I'm washing up in the sink, in the church sink. The pastor feeding me. She respected the boundaries. She was a good woman of God. She respected my boundaries. She wouldn't just come up in the room. She'd leave stuff downstairs at the bottom of the steps. Like she'd say, Brother Kenny, you want your clothes washed? And, you know, I didn't really have much. I remember I came for the weekend. I had one outfit, but God was providing through shelters, you know, like clothing places. People give you stuff like that. And I was just happy. I didn't care about that. I lost my desire for fashion anyway, so I wear old raggedy suit. It didn't matter to me. I'd be in that service just jumping around. I was happy. Right? I never forget the old God just talking about this bring back, you know, it just, hey, say cool lady. It just bring back memories on how good God is. But let me just stay focused. And so here come my first fall. It was a sister in the church. She was an usher. So I'm doing good. I'm washing up in the sink. And you know, I'm vacuuming, I'm cleaning, and I'm learning about God. Um So she come to me and say, "Oh, by now I'm 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 writing too. I'm writing down what the voice is saying to me. That's my music. But I don't want to go too fast. He talking to me and I'm writing what he's saying. But if I gave you that book, you wouldn't understand one thing in it because everything misspelled and is out of, you know, but I knew exactly what it was. I can stand up and read the book and it'll make sense. But I give it to you, you'd be like, what is this kindergarten, first grade junk right here? This guy do it. But yeah, so now let me tell you my first fall. And here come the sister, a usher in the church. And she say to me, Brother Kenny, you washing up in the sink and stuff? I said, yeah. She said, you don't have to wash up in the sink no more. You can come shower at my house. Now, I'm not criticizing no church or nothing, but God took me through different stages. In this church, they didn't really preach against sin. They was more of a praise and worship, a worship church. So I know how to worship. That's why if you've seen some of my videos, you see me bowing down to God. That's in me. God put that in me. I know how to humble myself before God. I love to worship him. I get down on my hands and knees. I bow down. I don't stunt nothing. I do that. If God say drop down right in the street in front of a crowd, I'm going to drop down and worship him. That's just what he put in me, right? That's what I learned from that church. But the church didn't really teach me that, yo, you're not supposed to such and such and do such and such stuff, you know, because of this flesh. So I didn't know. And the sister, the usher, I ain't gonna call no names just in case they, you know, I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feelings. People change. And she said to me, Brother Kenny, You washing up in the church? I said, you ain't gotta wash up in the church, Saint. And she said, you can come over my house and take a shower and stuff. So to me, that sound good. Like, oh, okay. I've been washing up in this church sink for a couple of months. You know, let me you know, take me a nice shower. I don't know how it happened, but as time passed, me and this girl started rolling around in a sack. Now, this is my first fall. Not immediately, but as we continued sleeping with each other, uh, everything started tripling down for me. I started going backwards. I lost my joy and peace. This is my first fall ever in God. I lost my joy and peace. I'm like, what's going on? I went back. Right, oh, I'm working to a temp agency job. So now I'm back because, I got the gift of gab. So now I'm back talking to other women in the factory I'm working in. I'm smoking and drinking. I'm barely going to service, but God never took the key from me. I'm coming into church all drunk and everything. Oh my God. It was just a terrible fall. And I couldn't get, you lose your desire to, when that desire is gone to serve God, it's gone. You just back to your old self again. I met a guy named Rum. We became good friends. You already know his name is Rum because rum, drinking. But I wasn't really a drinker like that. I was more of a weed smoker. But I drank on beers and stuff like that. But I didn't really like the way alcohol make me feel. But I drink them beers until I'm passed out or staggering, because beer do the same thing alcohol is doing. I'm talking about that malt liquor. That cheap beer. That cheap beer put you on your butt too. Have you throwing up, sick, and everything. But anyway, so now I'm just coming to the church every now and then. But the pastor still didn't take the key. And it's just a great big fall. I'm back out and doing my thing, and then now one day, because now I'm hanging out. I'm living with. I'm not even. I got the church key, but I ain't even living at the church no more. I done met a woman. My old patterns kicked in. I done met a woman, and I'm at her house now, and I done lost my job, so I'm getting unemployment. So the unemployment checks are coming to the church mailbox. So I just drive by the church mailbox, and my check will be in it. The pastor have it in there, and I just pick it up, gone, and that happened every week like that. Until one day, Pastor Black said to me, I was coming to get the check. It wasn't in the mailbox, so I had to ring her doorbell. And I think I rung her doorbell, and she said, Brother Kenny, come here. She said, I love you, but give me the keys. She said, you're going to get me in trouble with God. You can't be in here coming in and out of the church drunk, this and that, that. So now I'm back out on the street. But this the thing. Old patterns kick in. So during the time I was back out, I was back on MySpace, and I met another woman in the next town over. Now let me show you what God did. He did the same thing for me again that he did for me at this church. So I understand that God, he's such a loving God, because he transitioned me. And now I met a girl, and we started talking, we started talking, and she said, oh, same situation. She broke, I'm broke. So she said, oh, I know these brothers at a church down here in Massachusetts, because Connecticut and Massachusetts is only like 45 minutes away. It's not that far apart. So she was like, and I'm gonna call, I'm gonna give you their number and tell them that you want to come to church, and they'll pick you up. And when they pick you up, you can come to my house and live with me. So that was our plan we had. At least I thought that was the plan we had. But when I called these brothers and they came and picked me up, it was something different about these brothers, because I really wanted God. But when you lost, you're lost. But I really wanted the Most High. I really wanted him with all my heart and soul, But I didn't know that. But I learned. I didn't know that. And get this. Let me tell you something about the Lord. I could have easily took up and came back home to Brooklyn, New York. But for some reason, I was homeless, and the Lord wasn't letting me. Because remember, the pastor put me out. And I'm New York. It's a little more. My mind is fast. I know how to survive. So I'm surviving on sleeping here and sleeping there, and then I'm just getting by. But sleeping under trees, sleeping at this person house, that person house. But all the time I'm writing. The voice is still talking to me, and I'm still writing down. Oh, I skipped a big part. Let me move back a little bit. So before I left out of this church, they was having a revival, right? And they was having a revival, and I was ushering people in. I missed a big part that I have to go back to the first church, right? Pastor Black. And before they put me out, they had a revival before I fell out of God. I'm not out of them yet. They had a revival, and other churches come, a revival, other churches come and stuff. And I had the book that God talked to me, and I'm writing down what he's saying, and I'm talking back. That's my music automatically. To this day, that's how I write. He talked to me, I talk back to him. Bow, 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 I put it out. Now, a guy said to me, he said he a seer. He said I'm a seer. He just came out of nowhere on me. I was by the door because I was an usher, but he said, God talked to you. And I'm just listening. I'm looking because I still don't know the Most High like that. I just clean up the church, whatever the case may be. But I'm trying to learn about him. And he said, God talked to you. And you write down everything God say. So that grabbed my attention because nobody else know I'm writing in this book but me and God. And he said, your words that you writing down gonna help millions of people. That's what he said. He didn't say in the form of music, in the form of a book. He didn't say in no type of form. That's all he said. He said, you got angels all around you, protecting you. That's what he said. I didn't brush it off. I didn't deny it. I didn't nothing. I just listened. Now, I'm going to move forward. I'm out now. I'm out the church. But I'm still writing. If I'm homeless, no matter what. But God is not letting me go back home. And to this day, that's why my children upset with me. They not understanding why I left them. And I'm trying to explain to them, like, I wouldn't have been no good for y'all. I had to leave. I wouldn't have been with y'all anyway. I was a street dude. But God pulled, I'm trying to explain to them, they don't understand spiritual things because they're not spiritual. I'm trying to explain to them that God pulled me in. God took me. What do you want me to do? And I didn't have the desire to come back home. I just didn't have the desire. So now, I met a girl on the woman on MySpace, and now let's talk about the other church. And we're going to talk about that one at another date because this when they get real, But I'll tell you one thing about these brothers. When they came and picked me up, they was different. You know what I mean? And they didn't seem like they played around with God. And the way they prayed, power, Lord, give me power, Jesus. And when they used to pray around me, it lifted whatever that spirit was on me, and I straightened up. You know what I mean? God started coming back in me. Save me, Lord. That's what they said. Come on, clap. Say, save me, Lord. Save me, Lord. Save me, Jesus. Save me, Lord. Save me, Jesus. That other church wasn't doing that. That other church wasn't teaching about sin in your flesh, but these brothers appeared to be strong. Let me tell you that much. But we'll get into all of that. And it's not to bash nobody. I'm just going to tell my story like it is. And, yeah, I wanted that, what they had. It's like they were strong in God. I'm like, yo, I never save me, Lord, and give me power and power down on the inside and all this stuff they pray. I'm like, yeah, Lord, that's what I need. I need power. And I'm going to explain to you because I got to that church and caught hell too, religious folks. But I learned a lot from the first church. So my music stuff didn't start yet. I'm writing poetry. I'm reading my music like poetry now, and people standing up, clapping for me. And I'm like, what? Like, like they interested in this gift? Like, it's just me talking to God. I never really knew what I had, but other people knew. And boy, oh boy, did this gift, I caught hell with this gift. I still catch hell with it to this day, but with this anointing. But we're going to get into that on another date, all right? Yeah.